I was working kind of a stressful job, and it was a job I really loved. I'm a health coach, so I was traveling the country. I was giving presentations, working with a local company here in my hometown, but I had crazy hours. I was up late doing screenings. I would be up early, just a lot of inconsistency in my life. Wasn't eating at regular times, wasn't exercising at regular times. And I remember having a conversation with one of my coworkers saying, this is getting really hard. I'm not 20 anymore. So keeping the schedule is getting a little stressful. I don't know how long I can keep this up. And I probably had that conversation a couple different times over the year of probably between 2014 and 2015, and I would just keep pushing through because I really liked my job. I loved what I did. And then after a 6-day trip out to Michigan, and we were doing a lot of screenings, a lot of presentations. I came home, and the next morning I had to get up early again for another screening. And I woke up and I had this sort of muffled feeling in my ear and also this noise, this kind of ringing, but it was sort of low level. And I thought, oh, that's kind of odd. I don't ever remember having sort of muffled hearing before, but I kind of shook it off. Then I went to my screening and I was still kind of, aware of it, but I wasn't really bothered by it. But after a couple of days, it wouldn't go away. It was just remaining. And then I started to get concerned. And then after about a week or so of that, and just being overworked and overtired, I kind of went from 0 to about 60 in terms of anxiousness. I became quite anxious, quite depressed. And to kind of shorten the story a little bit, in about 3 weeks, I lost about 17 pounds. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't get rid of the noise. It was quite disturbing. So I had to do something, and I went and found help. I went and saw a professional. I went to an ENT. I kind of did the route that probably a lot of your listeners have done or are thinking about doing or was told to do. Go see an ENT. I saw two of them, put you on steroids, which made me crazy. Had an MRI of my head to make sure it wasn't, I think they called it acoustic neuroma, right? They wanted to rule that out, and any other physical cause. And finally, I ended up seeing, a psychiatrist and said, I can't live like this. I need to do something. And they recommended some medication for a while, which kind of brought my anxiety down. But I didn't know any tools at that time. I had no tools. So I found you, thank God.
Let's stop for a second and bring us back into that state when you're sort of frantic, high anxiety, looking for help. You are right now a wellness coach, and you have been for many years. So how would you have counseled yourself as a wellness coach, knowing what you know now about the relationship between tinnitus, anxiety, and how that affected you, Diane?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would have counseled myself a lot differently. Well, I think recommending to get some professional help is always a good idea. So in whatever way that makes sense for the person who's suffering the tinnitus. So whether that's through, some professional counseling, seeing somebody who's a specialist in tinnitus or audiology, such as yourself. I didn't know anybody at that time. Also, getting online, finding out information, good information, not going onto chat rooms or forums where people are sort of fear mongering and telling you you'll never get rid of it, or it's going to get worse, or any of those negative things. Completely did avoid. I did find another person who doing Cowan Hill, and I started to teach myself and educate myself about what is tinnitus, right? What are its causes? How do you treat it? Is it treatable? And yes, it is. It is treatable. And yes, you can live with it. And yes, it can get a lot better. So I didn't know that in the beginning, but after educating myself and getting to the right people, I learned a lot. And my life is extremely happy and much better than I could have ever imagined living with tinnitus.
Do you have a message for someone who may be in the first 3 months of a sudden onset tinnitus? It seems that you had been through the ringer of sorts in the first few months of your experience. What kind of advice would you have for your younger self?
I would say work with you. Find Ben. That's my first piece of advice is, find somebody that can help and support you and help you understand that there is help for your tinnitus. There are many, many strategies that you can learn and adapt to that will help your tinnitus. And if you have questions, these are the places to find the answers is, your website, your YouTube channel, your podcasts. Because, as far as knowing what you know about tinnitus, I think that you're right there at the top of people to go to.
Thank you. Yeah. And from hearing, thank you. I'm humbled by that. Thank you. From what you said, I also heard that understanding what can be done and that this is not a forever curse. It's a symptom that can change over time, and empowering the individual to learn what can be done externally, internally to facilitate that change to make it as quick and easy as possible. And yes, professional support is very important, and it is a great tool. And also, some individuals are managing this without. So, yes, find the right path. Definitely know that there is real support out there, whether it's with me or someone else. Well, Diane, thank you for coming on this podcast episode. It's really great to host you and meet you. I want to include your contact info or website, which we will include in the description of this video on YouTube for anyone interested. And I'll leave it to you here, podcast episode 18, if you have any final messages for the community here.
I would say don't give up because there is definitely hope. You can live a full, happy life having tinnitus, and there are ways to manage it so that you're just going back to baseline. You can be the happy person you were beforehand.
If you follow Treble Health and get value from these videos, I would highly recommend that you watch the full video from this clip right here, or subscribe to this clip's channel. Every little bit counts, and your support means the world to me. This is Dr. Ben Thompson with Treble Health.